Oh, look, here he is. I was just texting him, and here he is. All right. Let's welcome the one, the only, a Philly legend. He's a man. He's a man. He's a myth, and he is a freaking legend of this area. Let's welcome the one and only Mr. Billy Childs from Britny Fox. What's up, Billy?
Not much, Day. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Let me see if you remember me from about 10 years ago. Because I actually interviewed you for like a bunch of websites and stuff like that like 10 years ago. And we were talking on the phone quite a few times back and forth because you were like, you got to start promoting shows in the area. You got to do this. You got to do that.
Okay, well, 10 years ago, I was probably living out in California, I guess, at that point, right?
Were you? It was, let me see, it was 2003.
Oh, 2003. Okay, well, no, 2003, I was still in Philly.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So, where are you? Are you back in Philly now, or?
Yeah, I've been back. I came back here in 2010, and I played with a band called Get the Lead Out for about 5 years, a little over 5 years. And we're back doing this now with just me, Tommy, and Johnny, and Chris Sanders.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. When the press releases came out, I guess it was about a month ago, I was floored. I was like, wow. Like, I was not expecting Britny Fox to be getting back together. It was like, it seemed like it was totally out of the blue.
Well, it's something we had on the back burner for a while, actually, and we all had a lot of time constraints because we were all doing different things, you know?
Sure.
And we planned on doing it. I guess we were just talking about doing another album, and we're doing that as well. Right now, we're just writing. We're not in the studio. I see some things that say we're in the studio, but, you know, to be honest with you, man, we're really nowhere near that. We're just writing at this phase. But we are booking as well. We got the Monsters of Rock cruise out of L.A., and that's not till 2016. But you have to book those things pretty far in advance. And we're looking to, hop on any festivals that are happening or just anything that looks good. You know, just kind of pick this up and get it rolling again. It was always a really good band, and all of us really enjoyed doing it. So why not, right?
Absolutely. You know, and that's the big thing now. Like I was just talking about this in the beginning of the show, the cruises, which I think are a huge thing for the music business now, and the festivals seem to really be taking off. And it's not just like in the States, I think they're starting to finally take off, but around the world where they're really big to, that genre of music.
Yeah, you know, it's really strange, man. I had a version of Britny together in 2007, 8, 9, that me and Tommy started, and then Tommy rolled after a while. But I actually went over to Europe with that, and the reception over there and, what they seem to think of us over there couldn't be more different. I mean, over here, it's really hard. I mean, you just can't go out and, you can't tour for months at a time in a band like that, Over here, you can do well on weekends and festivals and things like that. But over there, like in the UK and Italy and all, I mean, the clubs were just pretty well packed when you would play there. It was a completely different mindset. So we'd like to go back over there as well with this band, obviously.
Sure. Now, the big difference with this version is, longtime original member Michael Kelly Smith is not in this version. What happened there?
Yeah, well, we asked Mike if he wanted to do it. I mean, we were all on board to do it. And he's pretty set in his ways at this point, I guess, and he just really didn't have any interest. So, I mean, when you're talking about bands like us, that have been around for so long, it's really hard to keep, like, everybody on the same page. I mean, you see it all the time with these guys.
Sure. Sure.
So I guess, that's kind of what happened to Mike, man. He's just got different interests at this point. But it's, it's the original Bite Down Hard, lineup with Chris Sanders and for Mike, man. And he adds a lot of stuff to it that wasn't there before. I mean, Mike was great and always was great. But Chris is too, and you just have to move on sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Now the question I got to ask naturally is, did you ever, in your mind, like, think about doing this? I mean, because, like you said, you did your own version back in 2009. Did you ever think to yourself at saying, like, maybe I'll reach out to Dean and say, hey, do you want to do this?
Well, I'll tell you, man, not really. I don't think any of us has ever really felt that way. I mean, that's really a story that goes back a long time, Bay. And Well, he was the one. He left the band actually back when we were really, I guess, at the height of our success, you could say. You know, and he wanted to do different things, so he went and did that. And he's never really shown any interest in this either, and we've never shown any. I mean, we were very happy when Tommy Paris joined. We
Right.
feel that we kind of took a quantum leap at that point, as far as you
Big
know.
time.
Yeah, and it was just a shame that the genre decided to change on us when it did, because we all felt that Bite Down Hard was pretty much had what it took to be a very successful album, you know, for those years.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, as I say, I think it came out. I think it released basically the same month as Nevermind by Nirvana. So we were pretty much ground zero, you know, for what happened to the
Gotcha.
the '80s bands.
Yeah, I mean, that guy that hit you guys. I mean, hit everybody. Hit the whole genre just hard. And it's a shame because it's a great album.
I mean, thank you. It you know, it was kind of weird when that all happened, because I remember we went out on Bite Down Hard, and at first it was going pretty well. I mean, a lot of people think that like the '80s thing just stopped and the grunge thing took over, but actually they kind of coexisted for about a year, you know, and both genres could do pretty good. But we started out, as I say, doing like that, but after about 6 or 8 months, man, you could kind of see which way everything was starting to swing. And we ended up near the end of that, man. I remember we played a place in Florida called the Good Food Sports Pub. And I was like, wow. I said, you don't have to hit me in the head with a shovel to see what's happening here, you know. So you can get a cheeseburger and sit at a booth, man. And you're talking about a band that used to open routinely in 20,000 seaters, you know, all of a sudden,
right.
You know, playing a place like that. I mean, sure, it's a very nice place, you know, but it was obvious that it was just time for everybody to kind of go away at that point. And I think most of us did. It seems like the only guys that were able to continue through all that were the super big names, like your Bon Jovis and your Motley Crues and your Poison, you know, and those kind of guys.
Right.
But the rest of us, we really didn't have much choice, you know. There wasn't. I mean, I guess you could keep doing it. A couple of them still did, but I really don't know to what ends or to what success they had, you know. But
right.
That shit happens, you know.
I think well, actually, other Philly band, Heaven's Edge, they've been doing like really good too, like where they'll do a couple shows in Philly throughout the year, and they've been doing these big festivals, which have really been like huge and surprising for them, because you know, we've talked to Reggie a few times, and like he's like, you know, we never went overseas back when our album came out in the day, and now it's like we're being asked to go to England and go to Sweden and go here. It's just weird.
Yeah, man, they're very cool guys. I've known those guys for a long time. It's really good to see them get some of that, man, on the back end, because I remember when they were coming up out of Philly, and they were a couple years behind us, and, you know, not realizing what was going to happen in the music scene. I thought they were going to have a lot of success, man. And
right,
like Bill, if you talk to Reggie, you know, it just never really happened for them at that time. They were a little bit behind us, and it's good to see that happen. I think I don't know what it is, man. I guess it's just that there's so little rock music around these days. I mean, to what guys like us consider rock music. I mean, I love the '90s. To be honest with you, I love a lot of those bands. Like Alice in Chains and Soundgarden, like, you know, I really dug that stuff. But since the 2000s started, man, things got a little slim, you know. Like, there's still some bands I like. Most of them aren't doing very well at all. Like, there's a band. I mean, have you ever heard of Veer Union, for example?
I've heard of them.
I'll tell you, it's a really good band, man. But I mean, and that's what I consider rock. I like Red. I'm also a big Seven Dust fan, you know. So some of these bands do well, but there's just so little of that out there these days that I think maybe people are like looking back and reaching back, trying to see like, okay, what were these guys like back when that kind of thing was pretty much dominating, you know? I mean, I can't figure out any other reason why.
You know what was weird? You know what was weird?
I never. Yeah, man.
I was going to say, like, you know, back in you know, even you can say up to the early '90s, like from the early days of rock up to the like early '90s, even the late '90s, where it was still a rock star. You know what I mean? Like there was that gap between you guys being up on stage and the fans in the crowd, to like, you know, it was like you guys were on that pedestal. You guys were people that we looked up to and wanted to be, and now it just seems like that whole, it's like everybody's on that same level now. It's like there's no difference between the quote-unquote rock star and the people in the crowd anymore.
Yeah, dude, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it really seems pop culture has changed a lot. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing that guys like myself are up on a pedestal, you know, but but we were, you know. I mean, it was different back then. I mean, you're on TV all the time. You know, I mean, Britny, we didn't really get a lot of radio. We were starting to when Dean left, but in general, we really didn't. And I guess when you're just doing things like that are more bigger than life, I guess that just naturally occurs that people tend to look at you differently, and you are that, you know, like that rock star, you know. And I guess now that, like I say, it doesn't really seem to be the dominant form of pop culture, that I guess it just makes sense that those people aren't on that level, and you see other people that I really don't know what they do, but they are on that level in a bizarre
right.
way. Yeah, I'm sure you know, but
yeah,
I guess that's how it works. I guess it's more cultural than anything.
Right. Well, how about like you know, Chris Holmes from Wasp fame? Here's a guy who you know, he was in a band that made a great name for himself in the '80s, and you know, he even got back with Blackie and the band back in the late '90s. You know, they sold some records, and they've drawn some crowds here and there through the years. He, I mean, the last so many years he was living out in Hollywood, and he said he couldn't find people to like form a band with. So he left the States and he moved to France, and he just put out, like, he's now fronting a band. Where did you ever expect to see Chris Holmes singing? But he just put out his second solo album, and it's like incredible. It's like that classic old school hard rock sound, and I'm seeing videos of him over there playing to these crowds to just go crazy for it, and you just don't see that here in the States.
Yeah, you really don't. I think it's because maybe people in the States are probably more influenced by what the flavor of the day might be. They seem very easily distracted, very, very short attention spans, you know.
Yeah.
That really doesn't surprise me, though, because, you know, Chris comes from the same era I do, and that we all do, man, and that our influences were just so much different. I mean, my influences were big rock stars, you know, so that's what I always wanted to be, was a big rock star. And
right.
It just seems like, you know, over time that got watered down. And as far as putting a band together today, I mean, yeah, brother, I wouldn't know how to do it. I'm in a big urban area here. I'm in Philadelphia, and even if I was to go down the list of dudes that were anybody from dudes in their 20s up to dudes that are my age, I don't think I could find enough people that really embrace the elements of this thing, or are even aware of it and even know what it is well enough to put that kind of a band together, if that makes sense to you.
No, absolutely. And that's what I was going to say, too. Like, I bet it's even not only like to find people to put a band together, but to be able to find people to make that commitment.
Oh, that as well. You know, that as well. It's very hard even on a small level to even keep something going, because there just seems to be so little of a payoff there for dudes. I mean, really, if I was like 20 years old again and looking at what's going on today in the music business, I really don't know if I would even be interested in it, to be honest with you, because there's nothing really happening except for very few things that interest me, or that even pique my interest, you know, at all. And I just don't know, man. It's become such a different world, you know, like what I viewed as rock music and its relevance to the world just doesn't really seem to be there anymore, except for guys like ourselves, you know, that are still functioning and still doing it pretty well. Right.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world from back in the day.
Oh, it sure is, brother. Tell me about it.
So you said, like the press releases said, like you said, that you guys were already in the studio and all, so you're not in the studio.
Yeah, that was a little premature, man. You know, sometimes things sneak out like that, I guess. And No, we had just we've really only been we've been writing for a couple months at this point. It usually takes us a while, you know. It's just basically me and Tommy through the mail at this point, or pardon me, through files. Used to be through the mail years ago.
Right.
But it's, you know, we're not really on a strict timeline or anything like that. I mean, we've had offers, but we haven't taken any of them at this point because we want to get something together first, you know. I mean, what we're doing sounds really good, man. If you like Bite Down Hard, you're definitely going to like this stuff. It's a lot different than our last album was. That's just a nightmare story unto itself, you know. But but what we're doing is a lot more along those lines, and like I said, there's no real timeline. I mean, we're going to play gigs when we get a chance to, and we're going to, once we get a batch of tunes together where we feel like, okay, we have an album's worth of tunes here, then we're going to go record them, and then you'll see an album.
Nice. Now, are you still playing with Get the Let Out?
No, at this point, I'm not.
Okay.
At this point,
so
I was only a couple months ago, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I mean, like, at this stage of the game, like, we see a lot of people doing it where they'll, I mean, Britney's your baby, let's face it. Britny Fox is your baby. But there's only so much, you know, time that, like you're saying, you got to wait to, like, Johnny's on tour with Doro and whatever Tommy's doing. You got to wait for these guys to be able to put all the time together. So what does Billy Childs do in the meantime?
Well, Billy Childs is just doing a lot of writing, actually, man. That's what I'm doing. I played pretty heavy there for about 5 years with those guys, and with the Get the Let Out guys. And I had a little bit of an injury, man. I hurt my spine a little bit, actually, so I was getting a lot of arm pain. So that was becoming kind of tough for me to do. And right now I'm just kind of chilling and convalescing a little bit, you know, and just writing. That's basically all I'm doing, just here in Philadelphia with my girlfriend and just hanging out. I could kind of use a break, man. I've been working pretty heavy since about 2006, really, at this point. So I was kind of ready for a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think it's time you take a little break to, you know, recharge the batteries, get the motors running.
For me, it's been just like a constant thing. I mean, Britny started in '85, and I worked straight through up until 2000. I mean, with Britny, it took me till about '92, and then I played with a band here in Philly, and we worked a lot. We worked like 6-7 days a week, playing all up and down the East Coast. That was with a guy named Mike LeCompte that was in Tangier. He was their second singer. He was real good. We had a guy named Rick Cornetti that was with Cinderella. He was their keyboard player. He was with us. Johnny D was in that band for about 7 or 8 years. And like I said, I got up to about 2000, 2001, and at that point it had been about 15, 16 years of doing this stuff pretty steady. So I took a break for about 3 years and just didn't do much of anything, just gave some guitar lessons and took a lot of vacations and just hung out. And then I got kind of bored, you know. So, like I said, I started everything back up again in 2006. And between that and Get the Let Out, that basically took us up to this point. And that had been like another 10, 11 years. So I was definitely ready for a little more time off now, you know, before we jump back into this again.
So who was the one that finally said, like, let's do this. Let's put the band back together?
Well, actually, it was me and Tommy were talking about it, and our manager, Wayne Dubé, was the guy that was like, you guys really should do something, you know? And we were all like, well, yeah, we'd love to, but I mean, it's just that the time element. I mean, all of us were working so much with other projects that we couldn't really do anything, you know? And I guess basically a lot of that falls on me because it was really hard for me to do anything when I was in Get the Let Out. And a lot of the songwriting process with this kind of begins with me. So until I do anything, it's kind of hard for the whole thing to move forward. I mean, at this point, you know.
Right.
Now that I'm freed up and able to do that, it kind of opens the door for us to start doing some things. And plus, my schedule was just so insane that there was just no way we could ever do anything. You know, I mean, we'd start to book something, and all of a sudden those dates would get filled in. You know, so. It was just our our schedules were all just so busy, and mine in particular. But now we can actually do this, so we're all looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it.
Can we expect to see possibly any shows coming up over the next so many months anywhere? Or?
I just heard some talk about August. I don't know for sure. I don't know any specifics. But I think August, possibly September, October. I mean, yeah, I don't really know at this point. Believe it or not, I kind of stay out of that for the most part. I just let management handle that, and, you know, I don't really know what everybody's schedules are myself, you know. I mean, it's too confusing for me. So, but I got an email today mentioned something about that. Our booking agent is Sullivan Big out of L.A. He's pretty good, so whatever. He knows the constraints that we're under and the availability of everybody and all that, so I guess he's got his marching orders, so to speak, on when to book us and when not to. So I'm just sitting here waiting, and I know personally, man, I'm a little more concerned with the album than I am gigs. I mean, I'm totally down with any gigs. I mean, really looking forward to it, actually. But but I guess for me right now, I guess the important thing is my focus kind of has to be on songs right now. So that's really what I'm thinking about. And any gigs that pop up, man, that's definitely a plus because I love to play, you know.
Does it scare you with you know, the way the music business has changed so much? I mean, even over the last 10 to 12 years, with the way the sales are, and you know, there's really no sales anymore. I mean, there's no CD sales. There's not many digital sales. People are even saying so. It's a whole new thing. I mean, does that make you nervous at all?
Well, I'll tell you, man. I don't know. At this point, I've been doing this for so long. Nothing really makes me nervous. There's nothing but constant change in this business. It seems to be all there is, and it seems to have really accelerated, I'd say, over the last 10, 15 years. You know, I mean, ever since, to me, as I say, the 90s bands were kind of like the last gasp of the big rock bands, you know?
Right,
and,
right.
I don't think, I mean, in a way, it makes it less frightening because you know what to expect. You know, where before you were going into things thinking like, okay, maybe we can do something and somehow get fairly big again, or maybe we can do this, and you know, you never know what's going to happen. But now you look at it, and it's really a kind of situation of like, well, it is what it is, and you can do it really out of love for doing it more than anything, because you kind of, like you say, you know what you can expect these days, you know?
Right.
So that's basically, you know, in a way, it's I wouldn't say it's comforting, but at least you know what you're looking at, you know, where before you really did, you know. And we're just looking to put out some quality music that there really doesn't seem to be a lot of these days. I mean, of what the kind of stuff that guys like us do anyway.
Right.
And play some gigs for people that appreciate us and get ourselves around. I mean, also, too, South America is a pretty big market for bands like us. Okay. Europe seems to do very well. I don't really know what's up with Asia these days, actually, you know, but I would think that's a good market, too. But pretty much the rest of the world is better for this kind of thing than what the States are right now.
I was going to say, the rest of the world is... The rest of the world is a great market, except for the United States.
Well, I mean, let's face it. These kind of bands, we just, you know, I don't know who's doing well over here. I mean, except the real big names, but guys like us can go to other continents, man, and do pretty decent, you know. So I guess we kind of look at it that way as well. I mean, Europe's always been, they've always been into that heavier side of things over there, you know. Mm-hmm. Like look at some of the, you know, Man of War and all that kind of thing. So they, you know, as I say, even as recently as '09, which isn't that recent, but, you know, it's not that far away, it seemed to be a whole different world over there. There seemed to be a lot more interest and a lot more appreciation for what we did, for example, than there is here in the States, except for, you know, you do run into some areas. I don't know what it's like in L.A. I haven't been there in a couple of years, you know, but that still seemed to be, you know, you could play some gigs out there, and there's different parts of the country where you can do well in, but you know, like I say, man, you just can't jump in a bus and go out for 10 months anymore, you know. I mean, that's definitely not happening. so for us, we're just looking to see what it has to offer and just do it really, like I say, man, because we enjoy doing it, and it's just what we do.
Well, that's the thing. You enjoy doing it, and it's what you do.
Oh man, at this point, brother, if you do it for any other reasons than that, you're just kind of kidding yourself,
I agree. And you know what? Even as we were saying that, like, you almost can kind of expect, like, there ain't going to be a huge amount of sales no matter who you are nowadays in the music business. But on the flip side, it can also be exciting because you can do different things. Like, you can be a little more exploratory with the music. You could different ways of putting it out there to be exciting and different. So, I mean, it's also like you can play with different options as well to kind of give it a little spin, shall we say.
Oh, yeah, man, there's no constraints really on what we do at this point in time. I mean, as long as we like it, I mean, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Yeah, there really is no, there's no huge upside. I think we're all aware of that. I think anybody doing this is aware of that. And as I say, man, I've always considered myself, I'm just a working musician, man, that happened to get really lucky a couple times and do some gigs that were a lot bigger profile than most people got to do, And
right.
And the other times I was doing gigs down the East Coast playing nightclubs, I mean, I've played weddings, bro. I've played just about everything at this point, So for me, it doesn't really matter as long as I'm working, And
right.
So something like this, it's a lot more fun for me than just as I say, just working. I mean, obviously this means a lot more to me than that. So that's pretty much where my head's at, man. I'm just a working musician that tries to get by.
There you go. Keeping the Britny Fox spirit alive.
Well, and that too, I mean, like I say, like I said before, man, we just love to do it, and it's a blast.
Cool. Very, very cool. I'm excited, though. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
That's two of us, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm obviously looking forward to when, it starts to move along a little bit. As I said, we just started, It may not look that way by looking at the press releases, but when that stuff came out, we had just barely even reconvened at that point, So... So, take that with a grain of salt, that in the studio thing. We're definitely not there yet, and probably won't be for at least 2 or 3 more months. If even that. It might even take a little longer than that. I don't know.
Right.
As long as we have a good product, that's really what we're looking to do, is just really put out some great tunes. And, yeah, it really is that organic, and it really is that real for us. We're not really looking to do anything more than that. I mean, we know what the business bears at this point, So,
well, it's going to be an interesting ride.
Goals. Yeah, I hope so. Looking forward to some of the festivals falling into place, and also the cruises are very cool. And like I say, man, anything that happens overseas would definitely be nice. I mean, I can see things happening in South America and Europe. The rest, like I said, I'm kind of unsure of, but that's where we're at.
Cool. Well, I can't wait. And I can't wait. I hope the guys you play Philly first.
Yeah, I don't know. That's funny you mentioned Heaven's Edge, man, because a while ago, I think they were doing something in June or something, and we had talked about doing it with them. But then I don't even know if they ever did it. I don't know. But Philly, I don't know, man. I'm sure we'll do something here. I mean, we'll do whatever seems good for us to do. I don't know. Did Heaven's Edge ever do anything here? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
You know what? I'll tell you right now. They're playing the same thing they did last year. It was like the night before Thanksgiving or something. It's been booked since like beginning of the year at what the hell is that place? Down by the University of Penn. Here it is. Oh, actually, no. It moved. Now it's at the Theater of the Living Arts. November 14th, Saturday.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know if that's, that could be something that we end up talking to them about. I really don't know. I know they're having talk about doing something. but it just the time didn't seem right. I don't know. I think one of us wasn't available. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but I know it got kind of moved aside really quickly. But being as they're doing something like that, I mean, I don't know. Depending on our schedule, where we're at that particular time, I guess we could end up doing something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's all so much in the air, you know, at this point. But,
yeah. Yeah, they've had, like I said, like that date's been booked for a while, and they've had tickets on sale for months already.
okay, it's weird, dude. Even though I've been back here, I've been back in Philly for like over 5 years now. I've just been playing and traveling so much that I hardly spend any time in the city. I mean, I just don't do anything, you know. When I come home, I just chill for a little while, and then I usually would just head back out again, you know. So
Right.
even though I'm physically here, I'm very mentally unaware of what's going on. There's just not much to do anymore, you know. Like that's another thing. There's just there's not really any. You know, we used to have all these rock clubs and everything to go to, and there was always something happening. And those kind of places just aren't around anymore, man. So I just don't even really know what to do. And most of the time, as a result of that, I don't really know what's up, you know. But
well, it seems like the hot spot now is Dobbs down on South Street, because they're bringing in all the bands from that era. As a matter of fact, what's the name's there tonight? George Lynch with Lynch Mob.
oh, are they really? Wow, man, I haven't been down South Street. Well, I haven't been there since I've been back. I probably haven't been to South Street in over 10 years, I guess, you know.
Yeah. Dobbs is the hot spot now.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the hot spot, and they're bringing in.
I'm just kind of shocked to hear that, man. I didn't realize. Like when I was around here before, Dobbs was always like more of an alternative kind of place, you know, which I guess guys like Lynch Mob and you know, and us, I guess we're alternative at this point. I don't even know. It's kind of surprising, you know.
They have new owners, so and the owners are bringing in like all the, you know, a lot of acts from that time. As a matter of fact, they're bringing in. I just saw Autograph. I didn't even know they were back together, but Autograph is coming soon.
Man. I remember Autograph, man. We played a gig with them in Connecticut back before we even had a deal, I think. They're really nice guys, man. I really like those guys. And good band, too. Wow, that's bizarre. I didn't know they were back around. Well, Dobbs sounds like a possibility now that you mention it. I think Britny would probably do really well at Dobbs.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Let me see if there's anything else here.
And you may have even given me a place to go. I don't know. You know?
See that? Autograph, July 15th at Dobbs.
No shit. Wow. Anybody else with them, or?
Hey, here's something. All ages first annual Rock Con hosted by Mark Evans at Heaven's Edge.
At Dobbs?
At Dobbs. I have no idea what this is, but it's 2 days, July 18th and 19th.
Wow. Huh.
And there's two shows each day.
Oh, shit, I would have never saw that coming, man. I'll probably stop down. Mark's an old friend of mine, man. I mean, I know all those guys.
Yeah, see? So there you go. And also, actually, the last time I saw you was up at the old John's Boardwalk up in northeast Philly on Bustleton.
Oh, okay. Well, Whiskey Tango, John's Boardwalk.
Yeah. Right. That's a new place now, too. It's called Bullshooters, I think it's called. And it seems like they're starting to bring some bands in as well, some name bands.
Oh, no shit. Well, it's a pretty big place, man. You know, I mean, if it's
that's a nice room.
Size, yeah, it was a nice
that was
room.
Always a
we played there in Britny in like 2003 or 4, somewhere around there, and we did really well there, man. We packed the place. I used to go there, actually. That place was pretty cool. It was one of the cooler places in town to go. For a guy like me, anyway, and I dug it. But like I say, man, I'm just so out of touch. Even though I've been here, I came back, and I just came back for the Get the Let Out gig, and then we just started working so much when I joined that I just never got around much, man. So you're like a lot more familiar with what's going on here than I am. I don't do much of anything, really. So, that's interesting.
There's
I'm
stuff
sure that's
out
all
there.
new owners too, probably, right?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. Huh. Yeah, see, the more things change, the more they stay the same, man. See, all these old
So
places
true, so
still
true.
Jeez.
So true, so true. Yeah, so there you go. So now you got to make sure, get everybody together, get the band back together, and get playing. You got to kick off the party at Philly somewhere. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we probably will. We're liable to, man. I don't know. I have no idea, but hopefully we will.
Very cool. Well, Billy, it's been great catching up. Let's not wait another 12 years.
All right, mate, definitely, brother. Well, Facebook is Britny Fox Band.
Okay.
You can find out all the information on there. Anybody who wants to find out any information on us, it'll all be posted up there first, I'm sure. And there's BritnyFox.com. We got that too, and we're also on Twitter. So it's just it'll be we're not that hard to find. And as things progress a little bit more, we'll start to have a little bit more of a game plan in place. Like
Cool.
I say, for right now, it's just a little bit meandering, man, because we're just, well, mainly speaking for myself, we're just getting tunes together, and we're just seeing what happens as far as booking.
Cool. Well, yeah, you got to keep me updated with stuff, and we'll keep waving that Britny Fox flag along with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Billy. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Before I let you go, if you can just cut a quick ID for me, that would be great. This is Billy Childs at Britny. This is Billy Childs at Britny Fox, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Okay, you ready?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, hey, this is Billy Childs from Britny Fox, and you guys are listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Awesome. Billy, thanks so much, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
Hey, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, and you take care of yourself. I'll see you out there soon.
Absolutely. Damn Skippy.
All right, brother.
All right,
All right,
see
man.
Bye. All right, everybody, there he goes. Billy Childs of Britny Fox. Let's play a Britny Fox tune.